Good evening and welcome to this edition of MWR Experts Live. Mike Randolph here, coming to you directly from MWR's New England regional office right here in southern New Hampshire. Forgive my froggy voice, but we've been talking so much about business funding over the last few days. I lost my voice, but it's back enough to get this Zoom started. And before we get started today, I just want to remind everyone that this session is for the education and training of our marketing directors and members and is not intended for distribution to the public. Reproduction of all or any portion of tonight's session without previous permission is strictly prohibited. We will be discussing information regarding our memberships and our rewards and revenue sharing plans. Please be aware that any projections or testimonials shared this evening are for illustration purposes and are not intended to serve as a guarantee of results. For more information, please visit MWRfinancial.com. Before we bring on tonight's MC, we've got some quick housekeeping and notices to go over. One, we have already created such a splash in the industry that we've got people out there imitating us. Well, trying to impersonate us. We've received reports here at the home office that people have gotten some strange phone calls from people purporting to be a business funding platform, coming up with some strange names, even sounding a little bit like MWR Fundable 360. Sorry about that. There's only one, and you are going to learn about that tonight. So if there's any doubt, double check, make sure when you are receiving calls from our Fundable 360 team, they will be coming only as a result of your scheduling an appointment to talk to them. They will call you at the time, at the date, and at the number you've provided. Any other calls are suspicious. All right, with that, it is time to turn things over to our MC and host for the evening. This gentleman, he has got more accolades than we have time this evening to talk about. I'll just say that I've known him for going on 2 decades. He is the best of the best, the brightest of the brightest, and he is a SoCal boy all the way. Doesn't matter how crazy it gets on the West Coast, you will not pry him from the grips of the greater Los Angeles area. The one and only, our managing partner of MWR, Mr. Andamo Tolson. Andamo, hang on just a second. Let me shut down that screen share. Oh, let's see. Stop share. There's the button. It disappeared on me. They are softened up and belong to you now, my friend. Take it on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike, and we appreciate all that you do. Even being here doing some yeoman's work with not being under the weather, the froggy voice, you did a tremendous job. And as vice president, we couldn't do some of the things we do here at MWR without you. So we appreciate you and thank you, my friend. Now, what I want to do, and I'm just going to get right to it, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen tonight. We are going to hear from an expert, and I'll talk to you about that in a moment. You're going to understand what's going on with MWR Fundable 360. You're going to see an overview of it, and then afterwards, there's just going to be a question and answer. So that all you're going to hear from is our expert tonight, and then you'll get a question. You'll have question and answers. So I would recommend you do 2 things. Number one, get as many people on this call or in this platform, this Zoom, as you can, because you want to make sure you don't have to keep trying to say this and say it to someone. You want to get this information and be able to take the notes and get your questions answered. So we can play 20 questions, get your questions answered. What you're going to do to ask your question is just to put it in the chat. A lot of questions are going to get covered just by the overview, but you want to put it in the chat, and then we're going to go through, and our great vice president, Mr. Mike Randolph, is going to look at those and then bring those up when that time comes. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Butch Chillaya, who is one of the top business leaders and visionaries in the world today. His approach to life and success is not just from theory, and I think that's very important, but it comes from world experience that he's gained through his own ascent to the top. Well, and so I want you to think about that. He's kind of taken his own ascent to the top, as well as his mentoring others to make that same climb. I'm one of those mentees. He's mentored me personally from years ago. So what I will tell you is this: he's trained over 5 million sales professionals all over the world and continues to transfer his sales and marketing strategies today to thousands of more every single week. Now, he went on to experience significant success in the financial services industry before transitioning to his business consulting practice, which he has done now for is close to 20 years. He's developed the fastest growing marketing company in North America, offering business banking and technology services to small and medium-sized companies all over the United States and Canada. And what's exciting is he's going to share all the secrets to help his business, help you go from business startup to run up and attain levels of, listen to this, watch me with both ears, perpetual funding and with no personal guarantees. Yes, you heard me right. Perpetual funding with no personal guarantees for your business. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you this. Mr. Butch Chillaya is a very dear friend of mine. I've known him for more than 20 years. He is a family friend. So when I say he's a friend of mine, my kids call him Uncle Butch. My wife, he can call my wife. My wife can call him. My wife talks to his wife, Flo, and his two beautiful daughters. So he is a girl's dad. And I will tell you something that's been remarkable about Butch during the years. He's championed my causes in my business, and just as I've done with his. But one of the things I really appreciated, because a lot of times when people are having success, everything looks good and it just seems like it always goes well. But when I've seen Butch have different challenges in business, in his business career, especially what happened, and he'll probably touch on this, what happened in 2020, it's what they do when they have to pivot, is how people respond when they have to pivot. And his same helpful spirit, his same desire to see people win and see business people, especially entrepreneurs, truly give them an opportunity and a platform to win, never changed. His same enthusiasm to just be the father, the husband he was, did not change. In fact, he is such a tremendous source of inspiration for me that I just said, wow, he just stayed so consistent. So you're not going to just like him, you're going to love him the same way I do. And I will tell you this: you want to make sure you have your pen and paper, everything ready, because you are going to hear the absolute reason why MWR is now positioned to absolutely change lives like never before. So, with that being said, let me bring up my dear friend, Mr. Butch Chillaya, the head of MWR Fundable 360.
Thank you, Andamo. Can you hear me?
I can hear you
Recording in
well.
progress.
I almost didn't want you to stop. That was just so flattering. Thank you so much. I don't take those words lightly. You were smart to highlight that, yes, we've had relative and repeated levels of success, but we also had catastrophic failure, and we learned from both. And this company, MWR Fundable 360, it was built by people like us for people like us, right? So life's too short for us all to make our own mistakes. And it helps us to be able to band together with a trusted alliance to be able to say, okay, let's gather around this table, figure out what all the pain points are, and then figure out what all the great moments were, and let's identify how to avoid one and maximize the other. So that gave birth to MWR Fundable 360. What we weren't prepared for was the brilliance of MWR combining that with the ability to leverage this legacy opportunity with precious metals. And I don't want to get into those details tonight, but for those of you who are on this call, and maybe you were on last week's call, and this has provided a shift in some of the urgency. Urgency is going to be the mantra of this evening's call, because you're going to want to position yourself in the best possible way to be the first to market, the first to take advantage the first to proclaim this is going to be a movement, and there's only one time where you can be the first in anything. And this is it. So I'm super excited to be a part of this. And I'm super excited for the brilliance of what MWR has done in not just being transactional, but having the brilliance to parlay a variety of great opportunities to make what I think is the most magnificent opportunity of all, right? And I said this last week, MWR is the most audacious company to make the claim where we're going to leave you better than we found you inside of 30 days. Andamo, I've been in business for 20 years, been in the B2B space for 20 years. And I will tell you, no company has not only been able to make that claim, certainly no company has been able to live up to those expectations. MWR does it every single day. It is by far the easiest, most realistic, dream selling opportunity, but where the rubber meets the road. This is not pie in the sky stuff. This is schematic. You know, Michael Gerber wrote a book called The E-Myth. So for those engineers on the call today, right, for those of you who need to see how the lines are connected and how the dots match up, the matrix, the M in MWR should stand for matrix. You know, this is like Keanu Reeves dodging, you know, doing all that, the dance moves, because you guys have cracked the code. Collectively, you have cracked the code. We are so proud to be a part of this movement, this organization, because when we met MWR, guess what? We met people like us that were building opportunities for people like us. It just made our road faster, smoother, more predictable, and made the opportunity more real. And it leveled, and I'm going to say this on national radio, it leveled the freaking playing field. And what? We're in week 2 right now. We're in week 2. Anyway, my name's Butch, and I'm going to share with you an overview of MWR's Fundable 360 today. And I'm going to let you in on a variety of secrets as we move forward. The first secret is this. What we're putting together isn't brand new. It exists. It just hasn't been available for the people who need it the most. So the premise of what we're going to talk about today is MWR's Fundable 360 with your fundable source with no personal guarantees required. We're going to talk a lot about that because there is a science to how that works. And as a company, we have cracked the code on how that science is developed. And if you understand science, like math, it's an absolute. It's not left for discretion. It's not subject to interpretation. It's an absolute. So we're going to talk today about absolutes, which is why we can talk about either having no personal guarantees or even offering a performance guarantee, which we're going to highlight today as well. So let's dive into it as quickly as we can. What makes us unique with MWR Fundable 360 is, first and foremost, we are a fintech company, which means we're unbiased. We're looking to always serve the community first, making sure that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a one-solution outcome, which is attaining corporate credit without personal guarantees, but it's not a one-size-fits-all on how we get there. However, we have all the algorithms figured out. We have all the matrices figured out. We have all the roadmaps figured out. So there is no guesswork. It's methodical. It's systematic. I tell people all the time, we are not a Ferrari. We are a Prius, but that provides predictability. It provides an exact expectation of, if I do this, it leads to this. If I do this, it leads to this. If I do this, it leads to this, which means with great predictability and precision, we can tell everybody who engages with us that you will attain corporate credit for a minimum, and I'm going to stress this, it's a minimum of $50,000. That's not to say it's a starting point. That's not to say it's an ending point. It's just a line in the sand that says, hey, at least understand that in life, we were able to produce and deliver on a basic promise. I'm going to share with you a bunch of promises that we're going to make today that's going to raise the level of how we play and make you a premier company. But understand, that's the bottom line as to where we feel we can at least look people in the eye and said, hey, you did business with us and we at least delivered. Now we're going to keep delivering over and over and over again, but we wanted people to understand that at least we've met the level of performance. Now, our fintech includes real-time business scoring, real-time dashboard access. Imagine having a cheat code of knowing what the banks are seeing about you, knowing how you are perceived as a business. I'm talking your EIN. I'm talking not your SSN. We're going to talk about how we systematically separate EIN from SSN. If the government says an EIN is an entity, which means it is a person, then we're proving our case that another person does not have to guarantee the activities of the first person. So an SSN, which is you individually, should not have to provide guarantees for an EIN, which the government says is also a person or an entity. And we're going to prove that in our systems. So real-time scoring and dashboard. Imagine on a personal level, and this is not personal, this is business that we're talking about, but imagine on a personal level, if you knew every time that you applied for a credit card or anything along those lines, that you knew before hitting submit what the credit bureaus were seeing about you and what they were reporting to the Capital Ones and the American Express and the Citibanks of the world. Imagine if you had that intel, right? It would tell you exactly what cards to apply for when, with what benefits and everything else. Well, that's the same level of intel that we're providing to our business owners, the same level of analytics. Our fintech does all of that in real time. An in-house concierge team, which means we will assign every business that works with us a dedicated team that works really for them, on behalf of them. We become their in-house concierge team, their in-house credit department. It is priceless. And we're going to talk about the values of the fees that are associated with that. Perpetual funding sources. What does that mean? That means get structured right the first time and then never need to reapply again and have continual and perpetual access to corporate credit over and over again. The average business seeks funding 2, if not 3 times a year. The average business owner makes every decision based on their level of cash flow and reserves. Imagine if they knew in the back of their mind that once they were structured, that they would continuously have access to pre-approved funding. How would that change their paradigms? We provide all of that. It's not a mystery. It's a science. It's existed for generations and generations. It just skipped Main Street. And we're providing that bridge. We're taking Wall Street to Main Street. That's what we're doing. Continuous increase lines. So we have delegate underwriting access across 400 banks and trade lines. That means if it's approved in our system, it's approved on theirs. No premiums on rates. What does that mean? That means there is no Guido in the mix. We're not doing predatory lending. It hurts people more than it helps people. Everything we do is to treat adults like the way we want to be treated, respectfully and kindly. So every time we place a business with a bank, the rates that is transferred to that business or assessed to that business is exactly the same rates that that bank is currently offering their prime members in their organization. So if Chase Bank is making an offer to one of our clients, it's the same rates as Chase is offering their premier banking clients. If Bank of America, Wells Fargo, US Bank, along the same lines. This is unheard of in the space. A lot of times you have what's called predatory lending or smash and grab opportunities, which means, hey, you need money, Mr. Business Owner. I can help you, but it's going to cost you. And often it may even hurt you. But because of your desperate position, sometimes business owners make the bad decision. So we have to ask ourselves, are we here to create perpetual business or are we here to do transactional smash and grab? That's not how we're wired. We're very proud of that. Right? Pre-approvals, use when needed. That means get approved in our system. And you know in the back of your mind, you're already been pre-approved and you can start making decisions based on those approvals. We're very proud of that as well. So moving on, what does Fundable 360 do? We help businesses acquire business credit, and we work with startups or run-ups, which means if you could be a startup, we had businesses that enroll with us today that had an EIN issued 2-3 days ago. That means they got no financials, no P&Ls, no balance sheets, no receivables, no sales. And it wouldn't matter with us because remember, we have a predictable scientific way of structuring them correctly. It's almost even better sometimes because they haven't made the mistakes yet. There is no cross-pollination or contamination of identity. They're not merging their business from personal yet. And we can start off fresh and make sure there's no confusion with that. So this is what we do. We work solely on making sure that the EIN has an identity that is fundable, that the EIN is credible enough to have a standalone presence with the banks. We have a way to structure that. So no social security requirements, EIN requirements only. And often, because we're successful in achieving that, there's no personal guarantee. Now, when I say no personal guarantee, I don't mean no personal responsibility. I just mean if life happens, at least you know you can pivot, protect your family, and keep moving forward. Because I'll tell you this, and we talk about some of those pain points. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was forced to shut down 2 companies that could no longer operate in the pandemic environment because of all the closures of public events and all of those other things. But let me tell you what wasn't going away. The guarantees that I had signed on corporate credit that I had received from various sources. So long after the business has been closed, which is now coming on 5 years, I am still making payments on businesses that I no longer operate and haven't generated a revenue for 5 years. So when we say that we take pride in making sure that we can structure things correctly so there's no personal guarantee, yeah, there's a lot of personal ambition with that because we know how it feels to be on the other side and we want to protect our businesses. Now, understand, this is not magic, it's a process. So, if a business comes to us and say, hey, Butch, I don't have any receivables, I have no cash flow, I have no identity, I have an EIN for 2 days, I want $500,000 by next week with no personal guarantees, can you help us? Unless I'm Mr. Clean and I look like a genie, that's not going to happen. So we can have adult conversations about how we structure those things. But that being said, I can look at that business owner and say, what you're asking for doesn't exist, not for anybody, but for everybody. It doesn't exist. But what I tell you we can do is we can work with you methodically and through a process and in a very quick amount of time in the grand scheme of things. We're talking a matter of a few short months. We can have you in position to never have those conversations with people like me or anybody else again, because you would be bona fide and be able to perform over and over again with an abundance of credit line at your disposal. So we're super excited to be able to provide this service. Unapologetically, we've cracked the code and we want to share that with as many business owners that can have an adult conversation with us about it. Our advisory team works every day if need be with the business owner. We give them updates all the time. This is done live on advisory calls, not just emails. And we work hands-on with the business owner on a day-to-day basis, right? Who qualifies for a credit? Who qualifies for corporate credit? Essentially, if you have an EIN, seasoned or brand new, and you have a business account, we can start the process. Those are the 2 requirements. An EIN, seasoned or brand new. You could be 20 years in business, or you could be as brand new as yesterday. As long as you have an ability to open a business bank account. You don't even need to have a business bank account. You just need to have the ability to open a business bank account. We can start working with your profiles. What's not required? Financials, collateral, balance sheets, P&Ls, and personal credit information. Now, that being said, if a business has those items and wants to use it, for sure, it opens up more options for us and for the banks in providing them faster, speedier options that will allow them to do some leverage banking, right? If a business has financials, collateral, balance sheets, if the business owner says, hey, I want to stand as a personal guarantee, I don't mind doing that, then that can obviously collapse timeframes, opened up opportunities, create different funding solutions that could help a short-term need while we still run the course to build their profiles for no personal guarantees so they can get better loan terms later to maybe pay off those short-term loans now. So all we're saying is it fits all sizes, but it's not a one size fits all. So I hope that makes sense, right? How does it work? We separate EIN from SSN. We really work hard at this, and we have a science to make that system happen. Proven strategies. It's scientific. It is predictable every single time. And this allows us to do a couple of things. It allows us to provide performance guarantees. Now, we do charge a fee for the service. Why? Because we have employees that work every day on behalf of the business owner. So the business owner can stay in their lane and do what they do. An MWR independent representative qualifies as a business owner if you have an EIN. And you can qualify for corporate funding, stating your MWR business as the entity or any entity you choose to declare for corporate funding. This is unique, right? And we do have a one-time fee. That one-time fee is $29.95. It is a one-time fee for use of our technology forever, for lifetime access, which means you will always have the ability to use our systems to track in real time what the banks see about you. That is very powerful for a business owner to have at their disposal. What you also have in perpetuity is access to the concierge team forever working on your behalf. Whether it's 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. And you will always be able to keep your profiles in the system so that you can do what's called stackable funding and as strategic as you want, and our advisors will help you, hold your hand, take you all the way. By the time it's all said and done, imagine this. Imagine if you were in business for the next 3 to 5 years and you actively use the platform. That works out to about 17 cents an hour or less when it's all said and done on an amortized scale. So no one's getting rich with charging $29.95. It's just so we can keep the engine moving, keep the lights on, and continue to do good work. A portion of that $29.95 is also commissionable inside of the MWR grid. And I believe the company has made some provisions to allow the individual to also qualify their own business and get paid a commission in the process as well. Unheard of by most organizations. This is a very unique situation that MWR has made possible, and it couldn't come at a better time. And we do have a performance guarantee. And I know we talk about this. Essentially, if we cannot perform and deliver on our promise of helping you acquire at least, so don't fixate on the number, because that is the bottom threshold, at least $50,000 in corporate credit, then we'll happily refund your fees. But I want to share this with you as well. It does come with one caveat. The business owner must be responsive and at least engaged in the process as well. Because we're dealing with banking and sensitive information, we often need verifications and stuff from the business owner. So if we are getting the level of engagement, then obviously we can perform at our best as well. In which case, we're 100% confident in our abilities. But if we're getting absentees and we're getting no callbacks and we're getting ghosted, or we're getting a business owner as we're establishing their credit scores on the business side, and we find out that they're defaulting on their payments, which is hurting their ability to get to the thresholds we want to get them to, then as adults, you have to understand we can't honor that refund, and they shouldn't be asking for it, right? If you join a gym and you don't go and you get fat and out of shape and all those things and get unhealthy, it's not the gym owner's fault. But if you have a personal trainer and you show up diligently, then he has a duty to make sure that he's prepared, and he has all the health guidelines and the nutrition guidelines, and he's got the training guidelines, and that's how this relationship works. I know for all of you on this call, you can respect that, appreciate that, and you almost feel like that's how it has to be, because here's the deal. We all have to be sustainable to continue to do good work. Here's our promise. We guarantee success or your money back. And if we can't perform, you still get to keep the work we have done. So all the preliminaries that we've done, the Dun& Bradstreet, the TransUnion, the Experian for Business, the Paydex score, making sure it's all aligned, making sure it's all reporting correctly, making sure that all of the trade lines are giving you credit for your business, making sure your scores are rising. All that work stays. It doesn't go away, even if we no longer can perform and we refund your money. So that's exceptional as well. No premiums on rates, no additional fees. What's the catch? Why would there be no additional fees? How can we be sustainable? We can be sustainable because there are often, not always, but there's enough what's called aggregate business where we're getting success fee reimbursements from certain banks when we place them with clients. Why are they doing that? Because they have no cost of acquisition in our process. So if Mr. and Mrs. Jones come into our service and they want to enroll their business, and we help structure them, build them up, and we portfolio them, and then we hand deliver them to, say, for example, US Bank. And we know they're qualified because we're delegate underwriters with US Bank. Then we know for that fact that they're going to get their corporate credit, which means US Bank had to do no work in qualifying them, had to do no work in acquiring them. So sometimes they will pay us a success fee for having matched them with a good client. Doesn't happen always, but it happens enough on an aggregate scale. That means some do, some don't, but enough will, which allows us to stay profitable as well. I assure you, I will never apologize for running a profitable enterprise because you would want us to stay profitable so we can continue to service the MWR community and the communities that you care about. I will tell you this, MWR is still in its building stages right now. We haven't even scratched the surface. We're about to change the way business is done. We're about to change the rules on network marketing. When you can provide guarantees on the opportunity, when I can look another human being in the eye and say, I promise you, if you took MWR for a spin and did exactly what we told you to do in the first 30 days, you're going to find yourself in a better place than you are today. Those opportunities, those statements, those claims don't exist anywhere else. Everywhere else is looking to have you perform a transaction until you're tired of performing that transaction. And then migration happens. MWR is creating legacy for life, wealth transferability for life. We're not just giving you the opportunity to get corporate credit. We're also giving you a strategy of how to leverage that, how to parlay that. And then when it's all said and done, there's trust experts that will come in and help you with trust and legacy planning to make sure that whatever you've acquired and amassed stays between you and your family for generations to come. There is no company on this earth, on this planet. I would challenge anybody on this call. You all have my contact information, Butch at Fundable 360. Shoot me an email and tell me, hey, you know what? There's another company I found that has some of these same programs, have some of these same guarantees. Another company out there that's claiming that they can leave us better than they found us 30 days into it. It does not exist. I've been around a little bit too long. I've talked to too many companies. It does not exist. Now, we get paid by the banks. I told you that. There's no cost to the client, no cost of acquisition, and they can keep using our platforms forever. These are huge promises. We're very proud of that. I will also say this. When we were putting together this presentation, I had people look at me and say, are you sure you want to declare that as a promise? A promise implies a commitment. And I looked at the room and I said, that's exactly what, as a company, we're prepared to do. It is our promise. Our promise, because this company was built by people like us, for people like us. And I guarantee you, your leadership, your executive team, they're thinking more about you sometimes than you're thinking about your own business. Because I speak to them often, and they always start with making sure that they have a fiduciary duty, whether it's a duty or not. They have a willingness to always put the field first, always put the community first, always put the newest member that signed up for a 247 package and a 149 a month is respected in the process and is made sure to believe that they did the right thing and made a good decision in taking advantage of this opportunity. It's unheard of. The respect levels within this company is unheard of. So what are the next steps for somebody who's trying to figure out if this is a good fit for them? They set an appointment with a consultant. All of you today have links in your back office. All of you today have ability in your back office to go set an appointment. It is now live, and I don't know if I should be announcing this. Maybe Adamo or Brian or Mike wants to announce this at the end because it's a big deal. Last week they said the 15th of April. Well, guess what? They worked like the Energizer Rabbit all through the weekend to make this happen. Why? Because we're urgent. Why? Because there's an urgency to go make change happen now. Not fast, but now. There's always the what do I do next? But there's also the question of what do I do first? And what I do first is to be urgent. You do not want to get left on the wayside. You definitely do not want to get left behind. For those of you who are still within the organization, you've done a tremendous thing. Now it's calling on yourself to go make something happen. There's no obligation or cost to speak to anybody on our concierge team as to whether or not this service is a good fit for your enterprise, for your personal business, for your EIN. Have that conversation. You get a free business fundability scan. It'll give you an inside scoop as to what the banks currently see about you and your business, what the trade lines, the credit lines, the PAYDEX, the Dun & Bradstreet currently see about your business. It's a cheat sheet code to tells you, the business owner, what do they currently know about me that I can get to go fix before I go back to them and make it official, right? But wait, there's more. For those of you who are in business, whether it's private business outside of MWR or has an enterprise or want to refer us enterprises, there's a free SEO business scan that we will provide for the service as well. This is a scan that lets not just the bank see how they see you, but the entire world how they see you, how your community sees you, how your neighborhood sees you. It's a very, very explicit report, and I encourage everybody to take advantage of that. So now if I'm an MWR, here's the uniqueness about this opportunity that doesn't exist anywhere else. Every other opportunity that offers something even remotely close to what is offered at MWR makes everybody become an expert. Every company, whether it's vitamins or anything along those lines. And I don't want to pigeonhole any organization, but I will tell you, every organization tries to make everybody an expert. MWR was smart enough to say, wait a second, let everybody stay in their lane and become relationship managers and leverage the expert. So here's how the program works. All of you have a marketing link in your back office. All of you can either utilize that today yourself and get a discount on the service, or you can share that with somebody you care about who you think can appreciate some of what we're talking about today so they can take advantage of these services. No obligation, right? It's a free to test drive. And there's a way you do that. It's what I call a setup and spike. So if I was an MWR professional, which I am, by the way, and I had the ability right now to share this with somebody else, and here's how I would set it up. I would say if there was a way for you to have access to perpetual lines of credit, and often without the use of personal guarantees, would you at least like to see how that works? I challenge anybody on this call to say no to that question, no to that proposition. If there was a way to have access to perpetual lines of credit over and over again, as and when you need it, on demand, on your terms, would that be something you'd like to learn about? Again, I challenge anybody on this call to say no. If there was a way for you to have access to corporate lines of credit and without the use of personal guarantees, would you at least like to learn how that works? The answer was 100% all the time, yes, all the time. In the same way, if you just studied what I just shared with you, if I met a person that I cared about, someone in my database, went to school with, best man at my wedding, whatever the case might be, and I looked at them and I said, hey, if there was an opportunity that guaranteed that you would be better 30 days from now than you are today, that helped you make more money, help you keep more of the money you make, and help make sure that the money stays within your family, would that be something you'd like to learn about? I challenge anybody on this call to say no. They might ask you things like, well, how does that work? Tell me a little bit about it. And here's the response that I always give people 100% of the time. I would say, it works great. It works amazing. It works every time. Let me go ahead and set an appointment for you so they can explain the details of the program and you can play 20 questions with them. Because I think it's important for you to understand how it works. So I make sure I don't misrepresent anything. It's exactly what I would say. So I'm going to start over again with the script. This is the golden script, whether you're talking about the opportunity or whether you're talking about the service. If there was a way for you to have access to unlimited and perpetual funding for your corporation without personal guarantees, would you at least like to learn how that works? The answer 100% of the time is yes. If there was a way for you to be in business for yourself but not by yourself, surrounded by experts who guarantee that in 30 days you'll have more in your bank account than you did today, would that be something you'd want to learn about? The answer is 100% of the time yes. MWR is the only company that backs that claim. I hope you feel empowered to know no one else in this great country today, outside of MWR, gets to use those words, a guaranteed business opportunity with another human being, unless they're wearing the MWR blue, and green colors. And that person says yes, and you set the appointment. You go to your link and you set the appointment. That's it. That's the job. You set the appointment for your prospect. Now, you could also just send your link to the prospect. But I'm talking today about being a professional. I'm talking today about taking control, inspecting what you expect. So I'm not going to send a link to Mike Randolph, who's my prospect, and say, Mike, go fill this out. I'm going to say, Mike, let me ask you this. When do you have available next week? I know they have Tuesdays and Thursdays fairly open. I know they got 11 or 3 in the afternoon. Which one works better for you? It's going to take about 15 or 20 minutes. And Mike's going to say, well, let's do Tuesday at 3. Perfect. Mike, I'm going to go ahead and block that in, and I'm going to set the appointment for you. You're going to receive a notification from them, and they're going to confirm your attendance. I'm going to ask you to do everything in your power to keep the appointment, because you don't want to miss that information, and they get so busy, it'll be hard for me to rebook you again. And Mike's going to say, great. Well, my job's not almost done. The night before, because I'm copied on that, right? I'm the rep. The night before, I'm going to give Mike a call. I'm going to say, hey, Mike, just to remind you, you got that appointment tomorrow at 3 o'clock with the guys at MWR Fundable 360. You're going to love what they have to say. Now, that in sales is what we call an embedded command. An embedded command is telling people what to think and feel before they think and feel it. It is powerful. It is powerful in sales. It's powerful in business. When somebody comes off a meeting like this, you don't ask them, so what do you think? That's a question. You give them an embedded command, and you say things like, what did I tell you? Wasn't that powerful? When somebody gets off a call with concierge, with MWR Fundable 360, you call them back and you say, hey, Mike, how was that conversation that you had with concierge? Didn't I tell you you would be impressed? That's an embedded command. I'm telling Mike how to think and feel. I'm going to share these strategies with you over the next course of the several weeks. But I'll tell you this, unless you get behind the wheel and take this car and drive it, everything that I'm going to help you with, and I train people all day long, every month, every year around the world on strategies just like this, how to get 100% of the people to say yes, how to close like a champion, and how to speak with conviction. Now, you cannot fake conviction, but I've already established with you, MWR is the real deal. It is the only company that can make the boldest claims, a guaranteed opportunity or your money back. I can't believe that we're not already filling stadiums right now, but I guarantee you this, 12 months from now, this will be an unrecognizable opportunity because the train is just starting. So I'm super excited. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to work with these champions. You have the best leadership group that I've ever seen in business. You have the people that care about you the most. I am constantly impressed with the level of preparation, the details, the communication. It's all hands on deck. I don't get to call, whether it's Mike or Brian or Andamo, and they go, well, I don't know what's going on. Let me check with the other guy. It's always all hands on deck. That is as hands-on as it gets. And let me tell you what motivates all hands on deck. It's the level of caring. You have the best leaders. You're with the best opportunity. And I dare say this, you're working with the best experts. Let's make this time so urgent that we become unrecognizable. When I say we, I mean you, I mean me, I mean the next person sitting on you next to Zoom. That we become unrecognizable 30, 60, 90 days from now. We transform our business, our lives, our legacy, and this company creates more noise nationwide than any other company combined in its space. My name is Butch. I'm with Fundable 360. I encourage all of you to take a test drive with us, ask us your questions, take advantage of speaking with our concierge team. You're already on the best company with the best leadership and the best team. You might as well take advantage of the best experts too. Thank you for having me on your Thursday evening. I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with you guys, and I'm going to see everybody at the top. So, Andamo, I'm going to hand this back to you. Or Mike, thank you for your opportunity to be with you guys today.
Uh, Thanks, Butch. I appreciate that. Oh, oops, there I am. Okay. Thanks, Butch. You did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for all that you've done. I will tell you, I know how excited everything is and the urgency that we're going to get after this. Well, we're urgent, but we're not going to be quite as urgent as you said. We're going to roll this out. We had some people test drive it right now, so they've been able to do that. Some of our top leaders, it's okay, it's okay, but we're going to kind of roll this out in a way, and I'm going to use my phone so that way I make sure I talk about the rollout and how it's going to go down. But we're going to roll out where the MWR Fundable 360 will be done in phases. So day 1 and 2. So we have some people some top leaders kind of taking a test drive and getting themselves situated already in the process. But day 1 and 2, what we do is, because these were 0 days, so day 1 and 2 we're going to have 3 stars and above. So 3-star executive directors and above who have went out and started building their business, they're going to get to do it first. And then day 3, we're going to roll out with our executive directors and above. And then day 4, it'll be all the QMDs. And then day 5 and beyond is any business outside of MWR. So those businesses that just all they want to do is just utilize this service so they can take care of some of the cash flow needs they have. They'll be able to do it at that point. And then the QMDs or the MWR members with an LLC or an EIN who want to start the process of obtaining the $50,000 or more, because remember we said that's just a baseline, that's just something to say, but to have that perpetual ongoing guaranteed funding, business funding, they can go on and get started. We've already, like I said, we've already started our what we call our Millionaire Maker Council leaders. They've already been testing it, and so we'll kind of let everyone know how this happens. So that's how we're going to roll it out. But you were absolutely right. The urgency is there. Just so you know, your staff has already talked to some folks, so some folks have already, from part of the council, the Millionaire Maker Council, they've already started the process of getting their funding for their particular businesses. So it's real exciting. There's a lot of excitement and energy. So I want to thank you for that. But I know there's some questions, and Mike, I'm gonna let me know what the questions are so we can get those answered. I know Butch did such a great job laying it all out, then it's there. In fact, in the chat, just so he knows, I want you all just to put fire emojis, put something to let me know. Just use fire emojis if you think what you just heard was the hottest thing you've ever heard. You were so excited about having this happen. And the whole thing about it, this is all as real can be, as Butch kind of laid out for you. So put those fire emojis as a thank you. And Mike, while you're looking through those fire emojis, kind of give us the questions that people have. If you have questions, put it in the question and answer or put it in the chat and we'll get those answered for you. So, Mike, I'm going to let me know what we need to, or ask the questions.
Well, Butch has done such a masterful job of getting information out there. I've been able to handle 99% of the questions that have popped up. And
Okay.
interestingly enough, I'm getting a bunch of replies back. Oh, never mind. You just answered my question. I think it was something you covered at the beginning of the call. But Jerome just asked a question, which something we spoke about earlier. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Um, how do you prevent scammers from getting funding? Scammers being people who have no intent to pay back the utilized credit. Now that's Butch. That's something we talked about the other day. So let's brag on your tech for a little bit.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Mike, for that question. And I respect where it's coming from as well. But here's the reality, right? There are plenty of checks and balances along the process that are put in place, both in our technology and also with the banks, to ensure that those opportunities don't happen. I'll give you a scenario. If you have personal credit right now, personal credit, and again, we're talking business credit with MWR Fundable 360, but if you have personal credit, and your personal credit score was 780, 800. The bank understands that you're going to think long and hard about missing out on a payment because you worked so hard for that 780, 800. You're not willing to just take it all willy-nilly and have that thing go down to 500. The banks know that. That's why they can do all these no questions asked if you're walking in with a 780. Same with us. If we're taking a business profile and taking it from zero, now business profiles work from 0 to 900. If we can get you up to the 780s, apples to apples, in the business environment, the banks know that you're not going to default on the 50 grand, because if you just behave a little bit, we got 200 coming right behind it. We got 400 coming right behind that. So they also know there is a conditioning in that process. Don't get me wrong. You don't get to pay $29.95 and tomorrow someone shows up at your front door with 50 grand in cash in a suitcase. That's not how this program works. We're going to take you through a methodical process, have you do a little bit of performance along the way before they start giving you that level of credibility. So I appreciate the question, but we have stop checks and balances to make sure that we can maintain the integrity of the program.
Excellent.
All right.
You know what, guys? That's really the only question I have that we didn't already address. The number one answer, something that you already alluded to, Butch, was when you have a lot of detailed questions, play 20 questions with the consultant on your initial consultation.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, I have a question. Someone just texted me, and it's actually a good question, and we didn't talk about this at all. But they asked the question of how do I get paid to share this? Because they're a QMD and MWR, so they want to know how to get paid. So I'm just going to say this because that's not Butch's lane, but I'll bring it up here. But as an MWR QMD, and I have this down. You see me looking at it, so I don't miss it, because although this is all happening, but this is all new for me. It's not completely here. I have some of this, so I make sure I don't miss anything, and I just take notes. So for every business, you refer to MWR Fundable 360, including your own business. So you heard Butch talk about, oh, you can get a discount. This is what happens. You will earn a $400 referral fee. Now, I need to make sure you understand it's referral, because if you notice, the experts do the work. So you're not set up to sell the whole program. No, you just make the referral. That's why when you heard Butch ask those simple questions, simple phrases, person says, yes, I want to know more. And he talked about, let me set you up an appointment with today, which time he went through that process. That's exactly what this will be. His staff is already prepared to then go sell the program, help them understand it, and get all their questions answered when they're playing 20 questions, and then have them happily enroll into the program with the $2,995. And at that point, you will then get paid $400 as a referral fee. Now, so that's what the enrollment happens. It's not when they ultimately get their funding. It's when they pay their referral, when they pay their enrollment fee, then you now get paid the $400 bonus, referral bonus. Now, what happens is you can also earn a $100, or what we would call a 25% matching referral bonus on the businesses referred by your personally enrolled MWR QMDs or business partners. And as you promote through the MWR ranks, and so some of us are already there, but as you promote through the ranks, you'll earn an additional 30 all the way up to $150 in the MWR Fundable 360 legacy bonuses. So now on think about this. I want you to think about this. On every enrollment that's referred by your teams, so it could be somebody 10 levels deep, 100 levels deep, you're going to pick up that $30 to $150. So that's through unlimited levels, and you and your team refer our MWR Fundable 360 experts who do all the work, and you get paid. It's that easy. Now, I'll share this with you. Go ahead, Butch.
One more very big caveat to add, Andamo. We
Yes.
only pay to MWR. We don't reward our clients to refer other clients. But I'm going to tell you this. If somebody enrolled a business with us and we were truly able to do all the things that I just laid out tonight, and we were able to help a business go from zero to hero to be able to become financially independent in their business life because of programs that MWR brought to the table, how quiet do you think that business owner is going to get? If I took a family business and I help them get the funding they need to keep their business in business, to be able to maintain, save their company from going under, do all those things, how quiet are they keeping that service? They're not. They're sharing it with everybody at the men's Bible group on Wednesday night. They're sharing it with everybody at church on Sunday. They're sharing it with everybody they play golf with on Friday afternoons. They're basically saying, hey, Butch, can you do this for my sister? She owns a confectionery. Can you do this for my brother? He owns a trucking company. Can you do this for my son-in-law? He owns a roofing company. Can you do this for my daughter? She's an attorney. You know, and the answer is yes. And all of those businesses, including the 100 deep on the legacy bonuses, gets paid to the original MWR that rep that started the first introduction. And the bonuses get paid over and over again to everybody else.
So what you're saying, Butch, is if I refer, let's say Mike, who has a business, or I'm going to use it this way. I refer Brian House and he has a business and he gets funding, then I get paid the $400. If Brian then talks to his sister, his brother, his parents that have a business, talks to his, like you said, one of his church members, one of his golf buddies, and all these different people that have businesses. And let's say he had 5 other businesses that decided and sat down and got their funding and they were going through the process now, that you're saying that each one of those businesses, they actually have my referral code because I started it all. And that that comes through me. So that means I'd be picking up $400 for each one of those businesses as they came through based on MWR's compensation plan or revenue sharing plan.
Correct. 100%.
Oh, I love it. And Butch, I know you told me one time we were talking and you said you experienced something with this business, what you're doing, that you have never seen before in your career. And can you just share what that experience was, just so everybody understands that this isn't just some theory that we're talking about?
You're talking about the cost of running my MWR business?
No, I'm referring to when you got a business started, like just some of the businesses that have already gone through. You got a business started who then said, "Wait a minute, I have other EINs that I need to get done, and then I know some other They started referring businesses, and you said you've never been in an environment where businesses refer another business, even well before they even get their funding because of the experience that they're having. Can you kind of just
the level of service and the white glove level, right? We call it the Nordstrom effect. We're seeing businesses for the first time in my professional life. I've always had clients that were excited with what we've done, but I've never seen clients so moved with urgency to share the opportunity with other people they care about, because everybody needs funding. There are certain things business offers in the B2B space not everybody needs. I've yet to meet a human being that hasn't decided yet that they have enough money. So everybody needs funding. And if there's a way for us to have predictability with our funding structures, which we do at Fundable and MWR Fundable 360, the passion behind the referrals are fast and furious. But I want to share this with you, Andamo. We have reps that have been with that we have people that have referred business to us and that have now since brought us to distribution channels like a special business group with 200 business owners that we're presenting on behalf of the original referring rep. We're talking about bringing on 200 businesses in one sweep. I'm speaking next week at an event up in the Northwest for 2,000 businesses that were referred to us because they brought us to the organization and the organization said, this is valuable. We want all of our business owners to hear about this for no compensation because it all rolls back right up to the original rep. 2,000 businesses, right? Now, what referrals will come out of that? But more importantly, if the rep is smart, the rep reaches out to those 2,000 businesses because they'll get to see that in their report in the back office. And they'll say, hey, I understand you took advantage of MWR's Fundable 360 program. Congratulations on making a great decision. I'd like to share with you more of what MWR does. When can we set up an appointment to have that conversation? Because, Andamo, you and I talked yesterday. For $2,000 a year, I have somebody that will help me with my taxes. I have somebody that does all my marketing. I have somebody that manages my payroll. I have somebody that tracks my agents, my affiliates, my upline, my downline, my sideline, my no line. And I have somebody that comes up with my marketing structures, my campaigns, my collateral. As a business owner today, I pay thousands of dollars every month for less than what one MWR affiliate pays a year as a business owner within the opportunity. Are you kidding me?
Very, very true.
This is not fair. You guys are cheating.
Well, I've always said.
Damo, can you hear me?
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hey, guys, listen. First of all, I just want to say this. I didn't mean to barge in on you, but I just realized something, and I wanted to share this with everybody. I know Mike has lost his voice pretty much, okay?
Right.
So he kind of addressed a lot of questions behind the scenes, okay? But I also know this. I know a lot of those questions are things that maybe some people wanted to know, but they really didn't ask. You know what I mean? So I wanted to, when we got it, I want you all to finish what you're doing, and I'm not where I can be on camera right this second, but what I can say is I'd like to go through some of these questions that he answered because I think they'll be beneficial to the people that maybe didn't get to hear the answers that were being made. And Mike, maybe you can correct me. On the Q&A, can everybody see the answers to those questions?
Yes, sir.
They can. So that's why you didn't answer. Well, that helps me a lot because then I don't have to go through all of them. Okay. But I didn't know that. And I wanted to jump on and make sure that we did address some of these things, out loud instead of just personally. But I'm gonna say this real quick. Butch, one, appreciate you. And I appreciate you saying we were going to go ahead and put the link up tonight. But we're not. Because, guys, like we said, we're doing this methodically. And I hope you guys can appreciate that. We've taken, like Dom said, our MMC leaders, our Millionaire Maker Council, and basically said, guys, you all got first shot. But at the same time, it allows us to be able to test our systems. And so they've already started doing that. Some of them were already enrolled, Butch. So they've already paid their $29.95. They're ready to go and excited. Love the consultation. Love the expertise of your staff, of your concierge. Unbelievable. And the feedback we've gotten from those that have already went through that is incredible. And so, guys, I hope that gives you a ton of confidence because when you submit a business client or somebody that you're referring or another marketing direct QMD with MWR that you've introduced to the business, when they go through this process, one, they're going to be impressed. The other thing is, unlike a lot of programs, they're not getting a sales pitch. They're not getting those concierges are there to answer questions, to provide information and education, to make sure people understand the process. And there is no hard sell or pushing or anything like that to it because the information's good enough. It sells itself. And so they don't have to sell it. They just share what they're doing, just like we do with MWR. When you share it with people and they understand it, it's hard to say no to. Same here. Okay. So I want you guys to have the comfort of knowing that, because we're excited. The feedback we're getting is unbelievable. And Butch is absolutely right. They've given you some examples, but guys, the floodgates are getting ready to open. And over the next couple of days, okay, I'm going to say probably Monday, you're going to start seeing where we're going to be opening up some things for others to participate and others. And eventually by the 15th, you'll be able to start submitting clients, taking care of everybody in MWR, all that stuff. But we're going to do this from leadership down, and then we're going to open it up to every single one of you on or before the 15th, as we promised. Okay. So with that, yes, Don.
Right. Yeah, they have one question. I just wanted to, just in case you weren't going to ask this, but one of the questions I have is, do they have to have do they have to be an MWR to be able to utilize the business program? If they have a business owner that is not an MWR,
No.
they run their own business, they don't have time to build an MWR, can that person get funding? The answer is yes.
Yes, absolutely. They can get funding. They don't have to be involved with MWR, but like Butch said, once you've helped them obtain business funding or this program, I can tell you, you just provided them with one of the biggest assets in their business to be able to have access to this. And it will open the door for you to be able to go back and revisit them about everything else MWR has to offer. And I know we look at MWR a lot of times as a business that helps with your personal finances. But you got to realize majority of the things we do in MWR also apply to businesses. Our health share program, phenomenal for business owners and for their employees. You know, you look at our tax services, okay, that actually prepares your taxes. If you have an LLC or you're an individual, you know, you can get one of those tax returns prepared for free every year. It's included in your membership. All you got to do is track your mileage and expenses, okay, and provide them with a report, and they will take care of your taxes for you. That's a huge savings. That one service alone can save people the cost of their membership with MWR for the year, okay, if they're filling out for a business, because business taxes can be more expensive. You also have that advantage as an MWR director, though. But here's what I will tell you, you have to be. In order to get paid to refer businesses, you have to be an MWR qualified marketing director, which means you own an MWR business for $100. You have our membership for $149.97. Or if you don't have the membership, which I cannot for the life of me understand why you wouldn't, but if you do not have your own membership, you have to have at least one MWR membership or Lifestyle and Legacy membership customer to qualify. That's what it means to be a qualified marketing director. So I don't want to do a training on here tonight, but I think it's important for you guys to know that. That's what qualifies you to be able to earn commissions on this. You want to be able to get a $400 referral bonus for being able to send somebody to MWR Fundable 360. You got to be an MWR QMD. You want the 25% matching referral bonus? Got to be an MWR QMD. Okay. You want to be able to earn the legacy bonuses? Got to be an MWR QMD and rank up. Okay. Through our revenue sharing plan. So hope that answers the questions, Don.
No, and most importantly, if you want to take advantage of the precious metals leasing program where you can earn
you
money
have to be a member.
You have to be a member, yes.
It's only accessible. That's exclusive to MWR members, and you have to be an MWR members to participate, even to buy precious metals, which you have to buy through our precious metals provider, have them stored in the depository that's owned by our precious metals provider, and in order to participate in the contracts, okay, the leasing agreements to be able to earn monthly returns, which that in itself is worth way more than $149.97 a month. That to me is worth thousands. I asked a guy the other day in Damo, I said, okay, I've explained all this to you. I've told you how you can make a six-figure passive income, all right, in less than 5 years using just our business funding and our precious metals. I told you how you could do that and accumulate over $500,000 in precious metals assets using someone else's money, using the bank's money, not your money, guaranteed with no risk of loss to you. And okay, so that's one thing. And then I showed you how you could create a 6 or 7 figure residual income on top of the 6-figure passive income. On top of that, just by sharing this with a few other people in a very short period of time. And let me ask you this. If I told you it was going to cost you $30,000 to get started and $1,500 a month, do you think it would be worth it? He said, yep. I said, you bet it would. But we're not even close to that, Dom. Not even close. Because we want everybody to win, not just those that already have money. We want to make it so people that have little money or that want to do better financially have an avenue to be able to make that happen. That's why all this is in place. That's why it's priced the way it is. And for those of you that say I don't have $29.95 right now, you've got an incredible opportunity to be able to go earn it before, or earn it instead of having to try to come up with it out of your existing income.
Right. That's just having 8 businesses. You refer 8 businesses to the program, you've done it. So it's as simple as that.
Oh my gosh. You build a team of 36 people in MWR, you got 1,500 in momentum bonuses, you've just made almost $3,000, $4,000 right there.
Right. Absolutely. So, did you see any other questions, Mike? If there's any other questions, let me know. If that's it, then Butch, I'm gonna kind of, say thank you to all that you've done, and you did a phenomenal job making sure everyone understood very clearly what you do and the expertise that you and your staff have in helping people. And I love the way you walked it through. Talked about the methodical nature of it, and that's not guesswork. We're not hoping, keeping our fingers crossed. That's why you can guarantee 100% performance guarantee, because it's going to happen as long as they continue to participate with you. Those businesses will always all have success, and that's what I love about MWR. It's always been proven, predictable, and profitable. So, with that said, everyone,
hey, Dom,
yes,
I'm not going to let you go yet, man. We do have some other questions. You asked, but we didn't get any time.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
I know this was already covered. Are personal guarantees required? No, there's no personal guarantees required. It's all based on your EIN, and you don't have to put up personal collateral. Is the $29.95 one time, or does it need to be paid again every time we apply for a loan? No, it's one time. It's one time for the rest of your life, and you never have to apply again. Once you reach approval status in the system, okay, exactly, and you continue paying the funding that you've already got, okay, on time, the way it should be, you're going to have more and more funding available to you. Not to mention, you're also going to start showing cash flow for your business, okay, that will help you increase that funding. All right, so all good stuff. Let's see. Contractors get funding for business now and not 2-3 months. They make 2,000-3,000 per funding, depending on amount funding. How does the $400 compare? They don't charge $3,000 for the service. Well, first of all, I had a question here from a gentleman saying they have friends in alternative funding space, and they, make $2,000-3,000 per funding, depending on the amount funded. Here's how what we do compares. Okay, one, those businesses that apply, they're paying a percentage-based fee, meaning that if they borrow $100,000 and they're paying 10%, they could end up paying $10,000, which is what allows them to pay out such high commissions. Here's the other thing I want you to understand. those business funding or alternative funding programs typically have outrageous interest rates, weekly and daily and weekly payments in a lot of cases, which ends up hurting the business's cash flow instead of helping them. Our business is about helping not just businesses, but also doing the right thing by our members. I would a lot rather make $400 and know that I have a flat rate fee and that I'm doing what's right for my clients or the business instead of putting them in harm's way, gouging them. And I want to be able to sleep at night, if there's not a better way of saying that. Okay. I don't want to feel like I've robbed somebody in order to be able to get paid. I want to do things the right way. So that would be my response to that question, real quick. And I know, Butch, I'm answering these questions instead of turning them over to you. I'm just trying to be quick. And if I don't know the answer, I'm throwing it to you. Let's see. Yes, we will be putting up a list of questions, Q&A in the Biz Center. So you'll have those, but we wanted to address things live. And I want to say this too, real quick, without prolonging this live. Yeah, I think it's commendable that Butch gets on here and that we have a program that is strong enough that you can be transparent about. That's one thing I'll say about these other alternative funding programs. They will be happy to have a conversation with you individually, but I promise you, they're not going to get on a live with hundreds or thousands of people and open it up and say, let me ask you questions, because the answers that come back are not going to be what businesses or people want to hear. Okay. So the fact that we have the ability to be that transparent, I think speaks volumes about what we're offering. Okay. And I appreciate you, Butch, for being willing to do that for our members and everyone else. So what will make you not get approved? Mike said, no clue. They don't issue refunds very often. Let's correct that. It's not they don't issue refunds very often. Butch, I don't think you've ever had to issue a refund, have you?
Yeah, we've never done it.
There's no one they don't get approved. Okay. Might mean you have to do some extra if you have an existing business that you've screwed up, or you can start a new business and start from scratch and go through the process. But they haven't had to refund anybody yet. That's another testimony to the value of what we're offering. It's unbelievable. How many months bank statements are required, and what is the minimum monthly revenue required for $50,000? Butch, I'm going to answer this, and if I'm wrong, you tell me. But you could start with a startup. You don't have to have any bank statements to start with. Doesn't mean you don't have to establish a business bank account, okay, and start looking like a business like you should, okay? But I don't believe there's any of that required in the beginning, is there, Butch?
No, there isn't a requirement for any stipulations at the beginning, but over time, we want to create a deeper identity for the business so we can separate the person from the company, and that removes the personal liability. And that's the purpose of the goal, no personal guarantees. So that's part of the systematic process we talk about.
Yep, I got you. How do I become a member or get the back office? Someone sent me the link to this Zoom. That's a good question. Get back to that person and they'll provide you with their information so you can get started with MWR. So, but great question. Are you accepting all partnerships, JVs, LLPs, etc., all the way to full C Corps?
Yes.
As long as you have an EIN, correct?
Correct.
Butch? All right. Let's see. If you're a startup with a brand new EIN and have not generated income from your business, can they still get? Yes. Okay. Mike answered that. If you're a startup with a brand new EIN and have not generated income from your business yet, can they still get funding? Yes. Okay. Through this process. Can you pay the enrollment fee in payments? No. You save up. If you don't have it, save up to $29.95 to be able to participate, earn it through MWR's revenue sharing plan, get involved in MWR and share it with some other businesses and be able to earn, $400 for each business that enrolls. There's plenty of ways that you can get yourself into a position to be able to participate. One more thing I'll mention too, Butch, is that we have a lot of MWR QMDs that are sole proprietors. They don't have an EIN yet. Guys, as of the 16th of April, our tax experts, regardless of what state you are in, as part of your MWR membership, will walk you through and help you get your LLC and your EIN set up. That one service alone, there are companies that charge hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars to be able to set a business up. Our tax experts are going to do that for you. Only thing you'll be responsible for paying, you won't have to pay a fee to do it. You'll have to pay the filing fee for whatever it is in your state. And that varies by state, typically $30 up to, I think, a couple hundred, okay, depending on what state you live in. So good question though. How long does it take, how long does it typically take to get the funding? Depends on the current fundability of your business, okay? Could be a few days up to 90 to 120 days, depending on whether you're a startup and you need to establish credit, you need to set up a bank account, you need to do the things necessary in order to make that happen, to get your fundability score where it needs to be, okay? Let's see. I think that's it, guys. I think that's all the questions that we had. Oh, hold on. One more came in. Let's see. How do you get on the revenue sharing plan? I just went over that. You become a qualified marketing director with MWR, and you're going to get a whole lot of other benefits with that as well. Okay. So you get our lifestyle and legacy membership, all of our experts, and you're going to get our opportunity that's going to provide you with multiple streams of income. Okay. So I think that's it. Guys, listen, I didn't mean to jump in and barge in on you, but you all look like you were having so much fun that I just couldn't stand sitting on the sideline. So I wanted to jump in, but listen, I'm going to turn it back over to you guys.
Well, no, well, Brian, go on and close this out because we're basically done. So go on and close this out.
All right. Well, guys, listen, here's what I'm going to tell you to close it out. Okay. We are getting ready to start in approximately 2 to 3 months. That's what we're looking at, our precious metals leasing program. Okay. I just told some of you that it can take up to 90 to 120 days in order to be able to get your funding with this. If you're just starting, meaning that you don't have anything with your business yet, you're a brand new business, and that's going to be a lot of it. What I'm going to tell you is that if you want to participate in that first round of leasing agreements, those leasing contracts, to where you can start making money on your precious metals every single month, then definitely get set up with business funding now so that you can purchase your precious metals prior to those leasing agreements happening. But I've got a disclaimer. If you're using business funding to purchase precious metals, to participate in our leasing program, do not use your business funding. Do not spend that money, and do not purchase precious metals until we give you the green light. I do not want you making payments on business funding until you're generating revenue through precious metals leases that can pay those payments for you and put more money in your pocket at the same time. Okay? So I hope you heard me on that. We put it on Telegram, our Telegram group. We're trying to get that word out there, but position yourself now, and everyone you know, guys, everyone you know, this is not one of those programs you want to play with, okay? Because this has never happened before in history. But position yourself now, pay close attention, because when we tell you that the first leasing contracts are getting ready to happen on this date, you want to have your precious metals purchased. You want to use your funding then, purchase your precious metals, and complete your agreement for our leasing agreements that'll be in your membership portal, okay, as well as providing information on where you want payments made on that to what account. I'm recommending your business account you set up for business funding. Have the precious metals payment go into that, because then it starts generating revenue going through that business account that increases your fundability. It all works together in this amazing cycle that is just unbelievable. Okay. So with that, I've said enough, Dom. We went an hour, oh, man, we went an hour and a half. I cannot believe we went an hour and a half. But the first part of this, was what we wanted everybody to hear, and then we wanted to address everybody's questions. So appreciate you guys being on here tonight. Appreciate you all with your questions, great questions and stuff. And let's go knock it out of the park. Have a great rest of the week, a great weekend. It's Masters weekend for me. Those of you that know how big of a golf fan I am and golfer I am. So I'll be working and watching the Masters at the same time. But listen, we love you guys. We appreciate you. And we're so grateful and honored and humbled to be in business with you and incredible people like Butch Chillaya, David Wren, and so many of our other experts that are willing to get on here and do this type of stuff so that you guys have the knowledge you need. So with that, have a great night, guys.